Welcome back to another episode of SCH Garage. Today we're working on the Magnum 360 that is installed in the Mopar Express Dakota. What we're doing today is we are getting rid of these factory Magnum Mopar pedestal mount rockers. We're converting them over to studs, very similar to what a lot of Ford and GM products use, which if you're a diehard Mopar guy like myself, it just doesn't sound good, but I'm having an issue with this thing where the knotty camshaft I put in here I think is a little too beefy. I've been bending up stacks of push rods, making them look like that, and I think I'm either running into retainer to guide clearance problems, or I'm running into spring bind. Either way, I'm hoping to resolve that issue by going from the factory 1:6 ratio rocker to a 1:5 ratio stud mount Chevrolet unit. So the kit we're installing is crane number 36655-16. That gets rid of your factory pedestals and puts you with a 3/8 stud to use conventional GM style rocker arms. So what's going to suck is my regular camera that I make these videos with is wigging out on me today, so I'm shooting this off a cell phone, which is kind of unique, I think. At least for me. So I'll show you guys how to do one cylinder of these. Hopefully I can kind of do it. Like I said, it's going to be kind of wonky using a cell phone camera, since I really don't have any free hands to use the camera and do work at the same time. But what I like to do is I have a Snap-on 5/16 thread cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and bottom it out here in the threads just to get all the old carbonized junk oil that I probably didn't clean out of this thing too well when I slapped it together, because this just was kind of done as a cheap junkyard motor build. So we're going to clean these threads out, and then I'm going to clean the mounting pads using a razor blade. And I will break out some of these crane parts and get you going on how to set these up, or at least get them all put in, the studs put in, then we will go back and do the rockers. So yeah, we're just going to get all this junk off of the pad here. Want to make sure we got a good clean surface to do all this work with, so we don't have any issues down the road. So let's get into our parts here. That's about half of them. There we go, the guide plates. So here's essentially what we're doing. Sorry again, doing this one-handed sucks. There's one of the guide rails. Do about two of these bad boys. Now you'll see, if I can focus, maybe, kind of, sort of. This squared off area will sit in this little rail, which will keep all your rockers and push rods aligned. That is very similar to how Chrysler did the factory units. So we're going to pretty much going to set in there like that. Then we have, break out two of these studs, get them unpackaged to the best of my ability one-handed. I really wish I had a camera person. Would have made this a little easier to do. Oops, sorry, don't need to see a close-up of my fingers, but there we go. So there's the stud. This end is 5/16 coarse thread, just like the cylinder head. That is a 3/8 fine thread for the polylocks or whatever other jam nut situation you're going to use on a small block Chevrolet or small block Ford rocker. Crane gives you some red Loctite to put in these threads before you install and do all the torquing procedures. So what I'm going to do off camera, so you guys don't have to watch me try to fumble around with the camera and the phone camera and all these parts at the same time, is I'm going to go ahead, put Loctite here, set our guide or our rail and our push rod guide assembly down in there, and I will do my best to show you the torquing method for these things real fast. So that way, if you buy this crane kit for your small block Magnum, you don't have to read the instructions as much as it is helpful. They are kind of some of it's a little goofy to me reading them. But anyways, I'm going to set that up and I'll come right back to you guys. Alright, so what I've done is I've just finger tightened these guys after getting this rail centered. You probably don't really need to worry about that rail being centered. It's just something I like to do, just kind of being anal retentive. So they give you, in the instructions they say they send you 2 jam nuts and 2, they're pretty much poly locks. But they only sent me 1 of those and 2 jam nuts. So what you do is you throw this jam nut in all the way, don't bury it because you're going to have to loosen it back up. Take this poly lock and get the Allen key in it, the little lock nut kind of flush there, and hand tighten this down. So it'll stop. What I do is I back this up just a little bit so you're not wasting a bunch of time when you get into the meat and potatoes of this operation, because let me just dump all these parts on the floor. So I have a 3/16 Allen key on a ratchet. Gonna need a 5/8 and a 9/16 wrench. This may be tricky to do one-handed, so bear with me. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna do that like such. We're gonna get extra close up here because I need both hands. They want you actually to torque this down to 25 foot-pounds, which I thought was a little asinine. That seemed like extreme overkill, so I'm just gonna snug this guy up pretty well. Set my ratchet back over here. Gonna take our 9/16. Let's see if I can get you over here. Back this jam nut up and get these guys locked up here pretty good. So the next step is where the rubber meets the road on the whole operation here. Gonna take a torque wrench, 5/8 socket. I'm gonna run this up to 25 foot-pounds. Apologize, you're getting to stare at my wrenches and stuff right now. There's 20. This is actually pretty simple, kind of once you read the instructions probably 3 times to figure out what they're talking about. But, so you're going to take this, set it 25 foot-pounds. You're going to send her down. Now I like to put just a scotch extra on mine, because what I'm looking for is I want the torque wrench to break before I see any movement in the studs. So if you just go to 25 and let it click once, you still might get a little movement in that stud. I'm making sure we're definitely at 25 there. And then for the reverse operation, what I do, ratchet, loosen, get my 5/8 wrench, get another close up of my cylinder head here. Now I'm pulling the wrench like I'm tightening the stud while I break this jam nut loose. And then I will grab my 9/16 over here. Going to do the operation like we're tightening this lower jam nut just to get everything separated, while making sure that stud doesn't move. So we'll back this poly lock out, take that jam nut off, and that'll be 1 installed. And you're going to do the same operation 16 times or 15 more times from this to get your guide plates installed. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If I can get the camera to hold focus. I'm going to wrap this job all up, and then I will move on to showing you guys setting up the little push rod bushings they give you. I'm going to try to use the Magnum factory push rods with this thing, and then I'm going to put on some 1:5 ratio GM rockers to hopefully reduce the lift on both intake and exhaust side, because this camshaft that's in here, if I remember my math correctly, it's set up to do, with a 1:5 ratio, it's like a 515, 530 lift, which I think will be safe for a Magnum. The way it is right now with the 1.6, at the valve we're getting, I think I I mathed out like 549, 563 lift, something in that general ballpark. Regardless, I think it was kind of too much. I was bending up push rods, mostly exhaust, which would have had the higher lift, which makes me think that I was running into either retainer to guide clearance problem or coil bond on the valve springs. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this side. Now Crane specifies for the red Loctite you put on that 5/16 that goes into the cylinder head. They want you to wait 4 hours for that red Loctite to set up. So I'm just going to do the driver's side tonight of putting the studs in. I already did the passenger side last night, and I will show you the whole push rod doohickey. their little neat system they got set up to do those. And then you guys will now know how to do the conversion kit to get rid of the pedestal mount rockers if you did want to kind of on the cheap, I guess, go with a roller rocker setup. I just went with roller tipped rockers, not roller trunnion. I just did this, it was cheap. So alright, I'll get back to you guys after this is all done. Well, we got both sides all done up now. Now is the real fun time. We're going to be installing their little bushings they give you here. These go on the little aluminum guides. That'll help keep push rods aligned so you don't wad them up, probably like what I've been doing, but maybe more violent even. So now in the instructions, Crane says they send you some super lube and other stuff. They didn't for me, so I've got some good old red assembly lube here. I apologize, I'm going to have to do this kind of off camera and then whip you back in. So what I'm doing is I've just put a little bit of assembly lube in the groove there, and we'll take it, hopefully without much headache. Oh, they are a little stiff. Oh man, they're tight, but I'm 99% certain that's the way they go on because the grooves are not very deep on the other side. So let me go over to the toolbox and get something to lightly tap them in with. Big hammer always works. This is how I avoid the crap out of this warranty. Alright, so that was way more of a headache than I would have imagined. Set this hammer down without dumping my rocker arms all over the floor. And I'm going to lube up this other one. Now watch me have the alignment kind of off. I'll have to like pry these out with the push rods and wad the push rods all up. That'll be great. Yeah, those things are definitely snug. Pretty sure they only go on that one way. Watch somebody else that has done this do this and tell me I'm totally wrong. So, with that out of the way, slide the push rods in. There's a little bit of resistance in the push rod there, but might do what they say, and they show you putting lubricant on everything when it's all said and done. So those are in, and let me unpack some rockers and we'll put those on.